Hi everyone. I've been doing a lot of praying lately and reading the scripture, and there's been something that's really been weighing on my mind and my heart, and especially with everything that we're moving into right now. I was reading Military Times and how a lot of the eastern states and southern states are actually calling for Trump to declare martial law with all the protests that are not dying down, and everything going on. And then the prophets saying to watch out for 2021, that there's going to be judgments being passed down from God and the Lord for actions that are going on now. And we're going to see a lot going down. And what's really got me is what's going on in the spirit right now. And I'm being reminded of Psalms 91, and for his people to stand on his word and his promises, and to not falter, not fail. And so I just wanted to read this. It's Psalms 91, and I'm going to start at, verse 1. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, and He is my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Now, part of what's got my heart hurting is that there's so many people out there that'd rather be ignorant and their heads buried in the sand on what's really going on. And my heart hurts for them because they won't confess that Jesus is King or that He is their refuge. They simply have no idea. And there's not enough people telling them that Jesus loves them. Doesn't seem to be a lot of people doing a lot of anything right now. Everybody is too afraid of everybody. It's so funny because everybody's like, well, you can still contract the COVID. And I'm like, no. I mean, look at John G. Lake. John G. Lake with the Black Plague, they put it on his hand and it died instantly. He had the power of God, or the power of the Lord, the gifts of the Lord, and the healing, and he had the faith to back it. And so that's why I'm reading Psalms 91 here, because if you believe, you have faith, you know, what does that do? I don't fear it. A lot of people are afraid. And what happens when you fear something? You bring it to you. It's almost like calling it forth. And I will not be one of those. And anyhow, it says, surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the hunter and from the deadly pestilence, i.e. Satan and COVID. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall find protection. His faithfulness shall be your shield and wall. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that pursues in darkness, nor of the destruction that strikes at noonday. I would say that sums up about everything that's going on right now in the world. If you really look at it, what does it bring? It brings fear. It brings terror. It brings anxiety. It brings sickness, disease, which is all things that we're not supposed to have as long as we abide by the word and the covenants, the commandments, and I see the ways of the enemy and I see how it works. My husband and I have delivered enough people and been delivered enough from enough things to know how the enemy afflicts and how the enemy attacks and how he makes it think that all this stuff is okay. I remember growing up and sexual provocative stuff was never okay. It was barely even talked about. And now it's flaunted on TV. It's talked about on the radio. It's all over the internet. Like, what? So, I see how that works. And I see how the enemy works in that way. Because what's one of the most deadliest sins? Sexual immorality. Anyhow, back to this. It continues in verse 7. It says, 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. So what happens when you have faith? A mustard seed of faith can move a mountain, right? I mean, it's been proven. There's been lots of us that have been walking it out. I mean, we've healed the sick. We've healed people from COVID. And it left. It got healed really quick. There's been pain that leaves. Jesus has healed backs through us. Healed knees, hips. Has delivered people from smoking cigarettes. They no longer smoke cigarettes. Jesus has helped heal thousands of illnesses, and I would actually say probably millions upon millions upon millions, because there's more than just one of us walking this out. And yet there is still only a handful of us that are standing on Psalms 91 right now. I don't understand why it's so hard to believe in Psalms 91. I don't know. I guess I just have that much faith to where I know that I won't get sick from this. But my point being, we should trust in the Lord and in what God has planned. And I keep telling people, I'm like, you can believe me or not. I said, but when it comes to Judgment Day, you're going to believe me then. But by then it's going to be too late. And that's what hurts my heart. Because I have to turn around and walk away. And when I have to turn around and walk away, my heart is crying. Is literally bleeding out, because they'll see on Judgment Day. And I know that's true. I've had dreams of Jesus coming back. He told me he was coming back. And it was going to be soon. And if you look through Revelations, you're going to see the stuff that's already happening. All of the prophets that are prophesying, everything's come to pass. And so I'm looking at chapter 6 in Revelations, where it's talking about Hades and death coming down. Because let me turn here to Revelations 6, where I just got taken to in prayer. So we've got, I'm just going to read 6. The seals. I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with voice like thunder, "Come and see." And I looked, and there before me was a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went forth conquering, that he might overcome. I've labeled that the devourer, because the job of that is to pretty much kind of like test to see who is there, who believes. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come and see." Then another horse that was red went forth. Power was given to him who sat on it to take peace from the earth, causing people to kill one another. Then a great sword was given to him. What does that sound like? all the riots. There's more going on in the world than just the riots. There's wars in other countries. There's gangs. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, we want to sit here and look at our own territory. There's so much more going on in the world than just what's going on in our backyard. People are killing each other. People are killing themselves. You know, and so it continues on with, when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there was a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hands. Then I heard a voice under the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a day's wages, and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wages. And do not harm the oil and the wine." What's going on right now is greed has swept the world. It's all about the money. I'm sorry, I'm here to tell you it's more than just about money. Prices of things are going through the roof. And minimum wage is staying the same, working the people to death. Just to survive. Nobody can get ahead anymore. It's just to survive. The only ones that are getting ahead are the ones that are already rich. So you've got that on top of the plagues, because there was like 2 or 3 other plagues that broke out in China after COVID. You know, and it also states in the Bible, I remember reading it, but I'm not looking for it right now, but it also states in here that those that are the more afflicted is going to have more afflictions come from it, which are the seals, the earthquakes, the things that are not supposed to happen as long as you're with God. And so I'm sitting here and I'm reading all this and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, huh. So next what was said is, when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, "Come." So I looked, and there was a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed him. Power over 1/4 of the earth was given to them to kill, with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to believe this until it happens. So, the prophets are all saying the same thing. Come 2021, after January, you're going to start seeing a lot of people who voted for, and I'm just going to say, the baby killer. There's going to be sickness and disease that are going to be flooding those who are all for everything that goes against the Bible, the commandments. And I don't know about you, but I know that there's a lot of people in the world that are doing exactly what Mr. Biden is all for. And Trump is trying to stop it. As brash as he may be with his voice or his words on Twitter, the Lord is still going to use him, because the Lord is going to use whoever is willing to let him use him. And so, again, I'm going to say, if you don't believe any of the prophets, as it says in the Bible that you should, and you don't believe in the Bible, and you don't believe in God, the only thing I can say to you is you will on Judgment Day. And on that one, I pray to God that your mind is changed before that day, before it's too late. I would have thought by now a lot of people reading the Bible would stand more on his word and his promises than what the word of man says, which he warns against in the Bible too, in like 1,000 different places. And so I feel this sense of urgency because I know what's coming. I've had dreams of what's coming. Every dream that I've ever had has come true. I've tried telling people and they don't listen to me until it comes true. And then they're like, oh. So I tell who will listen, but I don't really get a lot of listeners. But that's okay, because I just want to put this out there. I don't want to see that many people go to hell because they think that this life is all about getting money and living a good life. When in all reality, it's a dressing room for eternity. We are here to learn. We are here to, I don't want to say perfect ourselves, but we're here to gain the right back, I guess you could say, by following the commandments of God, which was originally ordained, what was originally ordained for us. But a lot of people don't want to give up their pleasures or their money or whatever lavish lifestyle they live here on this earth, which is, mind you, just nothing but a breath compared to eternity. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be in heaven and not tortured in hell for all eternity. I'd rather be singing hymns to Jesus and talking to Jesus and God and walking by the rivers of the living water than to be hearing nothing but screaming for all eternity, or feeling the pain that I've caused in this life, or I urge everybody to just think, pray about it, see what you get. But my heart goes out. My prayers go to them. My prayers go to everybody. I pray for the entire world all the time. I pray for everybody's sitting there saying, none of this is going to happen until there's a big coming of the church. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you're already seeing it. How many people have come to Christ in the last year alone than ever before? Millions. Nobody ever said it was going to be here in the United States. And I know I'm being bold with this, but I'm also being true and real. Everybody's always looking at the United States as the one. No. Israel's the one, for one. For two, there's more countries than just our country. Everybody thinks that the mass coming to God is going to be here in the United States. No, it's not. The last revival was in Africa, where, 7 point something million people came to God. There's nothing in this Bible that I have read that says that there will be a mass coming of God. But it does say that a lot of people are going to come to God. It never says anything about a revival. When people start seeing revelations come to life, there's going to be a lot of people coming to God. I think that's a revival. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the revival is going to happen first, before the end time stuff happens. And, I've experienced a lot. I've seen a lot. Come a long way. But only thanks to God. Only thanks to Jesus. Because only through them am I able to do this, or to be this way, or to help heal the sick, help deliver people from demons and spirits of Satan, to see in the spirit realms, to hear and communicate in the spirit realms, to work miracles. Miracles never died with Jesus. They continued. We just quit believing. I think it's time to start believing again. Because only in that is how it's how you're going to be happy. Instead of all this worrying. Everybody worries. Like anxiety, worry, depression, oppression, anxiety, and more anxiety. Why? You shouldn't have to live like that. It even states in the Bible, we were all meant to be free. So why not be free? What do you have to lose? That's my question. And that is my challenge to you. If you need prayer for anything, you should be able to get prayer. Message me. We'll pray for you. It's not a problem. But seeing a lot of people deny God, that's what hurts. I've had an encounter with Jesus. I've had a couple of them. There's no way I could ever deny. Not now. Not ever. Nor do I ever want to.